Kelly will have to do it.
There's Henry.
Hello, Henry. Lily. Hi.
Okay. We could probably get started because I think Mrs. Harrington said she wasn't going to be able to make it.
Kelly, do you want to start recording? Then I'll share my screen.
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay. Hello, thank you for coming on, everyone. I'm going to start to share my screen.
I think it's recording. I hope it is.
Okay. You see it? Okay. Okay, so this year, when our children leave us and go for bigger pastures, it's going to be a big leap for them. It's going to be a big change. And think back to how you felt on their first day of school when they started with us. That's kind of the way we're feeling right now about them leaving us for bigger pastures. So last year, I conducted an action research with the American Montessori Society on creating the best plan to support our children's move to public school. We realize that there are considerable differences between the two environments. So the biggest takeaway of my research was that there is going to be a transition process, and every child is different, of course, and everyone will react differently, and maybe someone will get affected, some children will not show any signs of being affected, and it'll just go seamlessly. But we just want to create the best plan to ensure their success in this transition. So the upside of this is that the experiences of all the people that I've spoken to, we interviewed some public school teachers, and we surveyed with our families from before, our previous year's families, about their experiences, and also my own experience with my own two children who went through the same process after Montessori, is that it's all the benefits of having a Montessori education are long-term, and they far outweigh this little bit of transition period. So today, this is our plan for today, what we're going to discuss. We'll talk about what will change for them. And it is important to know when to step in and when to give the children a chance to cope on their own. And then we'll give some suggestions on what has worked for us and for everyone that has gone through this experience. And then we'll share some resources that you can use to help through the transition. And also we'll end with reminding you to trust your decision of giving your child a Montessori education, and put your trust in their abilities, and don't forget the benefits of giving them this gift of completing the 3-year cycle of Montessori education. So the first difference is going to be in the environment. Many children in our classrooms have been with us for 3 years, and this is the only environment they've known outside of their homes. It's second, they're so comfortable here in their classrooms and in our small community that it's second to their home only in their comfort level. It took them, they've been connected with us for 3 years, most of their conscious lifetime. But now when they leave us, they'll be going to a school which will probably have a bigger building. The layout of the classroom will be different. They'll have to go out for specials to different rooms, probably, or lunch in a cafeteria, riding a bus to school. They'll need some time to find their footing in this new environment. Then their teachers, the adults in the classroom, they've been with us for a long time. They are extremely comfortable with us. Our relationship is now at this point so organic. There's a mutual understanding and respect. We know them and they know us well. In this new environment, there's going to be a new adult. It'll take them time to understand each other. The children will take some time to figure out when to speak up, how to ask for help. And just in case, for whatever reason, if they are turned down once, it may take them some time to gather up courage and speak up again, and to perform the way that they're expected to perform. That relationship will affect their performance academically too. Now, their social relationships. So for this age group, up until now, they were from the birth to 6-year-old children in this age group. They play with their friends, they have fun together. But now, in Montessori, we call this the second plane of development that they're entering now. And in this age group, they make deeper bonds. Peer relationships are the most important thing in this, in even developmentally at this age. And they, up until now in our classrooms, they have such a great thing going. They've established their relationships. They treat each other with grace and courtesy. They take turns. They know how to take turns and resolve their conflicts peacefully. They are sensitive to each other's needs. They know when to help. They know when to step back. They're courteous. They've developed a strong sense of right or wrong. And these skills, even though they may take some time to build new friendships with the new children that they'll meet, but all these skills that they have learned so far, those are going to be their superpowers, and that's how they will stand out, and that's how they will build those bonds now. The other children, on the other hand, some of them may be more outgoing than our children, and maybe louder, more more confident. But in my own personal experience with my daughter, these are the qualities that she had from her Montessori experience, were the qualities that attracted her friends, her long-term friends that she's friends with even to this day, and she's a 16-year-old now. So that's what has helped her build those long-term relationships, because her special qualities made her stand out. In Montessori, we understand that movement is so important at this age, and it's just not a reasonable ask to have children to be sitting down at a desk all day long. But so in our environments, in our classrooms, our work is set up so they will get up from their workspace and they'll go to get one of those blocks of the 1,000 cubes, and each different part, they walk around the classroom, they pick up materials and they work. So there's movement in the classroom. But in their new environment, they're going to be assigned a seat, and they will be expected to be sitting while the lesson is going on. So, and look at the smart board. So my own son had this experience that he was used to moving around in the classroom. So I had to speak to his teacher that this is the kind of environment that he's coming from. And so she accommodated, actually, and she, in the beginning of the year, the first few months, she gave him a seat that would not block if he needs to stand up and write or just hop around like he's been used to doing in his Montessori classroom. So she gave her a spot where he could do all those things, but not get in the way of others and block the smart board. Leadership. So they were in their third year. These children got so many opportunities for leadership. We depended on them. They gave these lessons to younger children. They they pretty much many times they ran the classroom. This was their, it took them all this time to get that comfort level and develop those leadership skills. And they take so much pride in these things. But when they move on next to their new classroom, we have to keep in mind that most of the children will be their own age and they'll be similar in ability too. So they may not get the same kind of leadership opportunities right away. So they will take some time to gauge and measure up and understand when they can step up and who they can step up with to help. But like I mentioned, I had this interview with a public school teacher. This is one of the things that she actually mentioned, that she appreciated how in her experience, the children that came from Montessori schools had this ability and they knew just how to lead and just how to help others. So she appreciated that and she created opportunities for them to help others and take on a leadership role. They were dependable, so she could depend on them. So in our classrooms, our children they make these decisions about what to learn, when to learn, how to maintain the environment, how to decorate the environment. They clean up after lunch and snack. They decorate with flowers. They change things around. If something's not placed in the right spot in the classroom, they'll know right away and they'll go and fix it. So they have this choice and this power in the classroom. They probably will not have a lot of that, and they'll be dependent on the teacher to make those decisions for them. And that it'll take them some time to accommodate with that change. Now, so Montessori works with a growth mindset. So our children are encouraged to do long projects and completely immerse themselves in a subject. They work for perfection, for creativity, to feed their curiosity. So it's not so much about time. They can work for as long as they want to if they're interested in a subject. Now in their new classroom, there's going to be 30-minute work periods. And everyone will be expected to work at the same pace. So that may come as a little shock to them, that they have to finish this assignment while everyone else is also with everyone. So sometimes they may be catching up with others, at other times they're finished and they'll be probably waiting for others to finish. So that will be an adjustment for them. The lessons that we have in Montessori are also hands-on and with our materials, but now they'll have to get used to just abstract lessons that will be taught from a book and on a smart board. And there's going to be 1 or 2 teachers for the whole classroom. So it won't be, the numbers may be the same, but because of the way our curriculum is and the way our classrooms are set up, we are able to work individually with the children. That may be that's going to probably be different because the instruction will be on a smart board for everyone to follow along. So this is something that's going to take some time for adjustment, because they'll have to, it's a different process of learning when you have to look at the smart board and the teacher is speaking and you have to follow through and follow with her words rather than doing all these self-directed activities. We believe that freedom of letting them choose their work results in a better learning process. They learn with interest and more focus. And so we have for all these years encouraged their decision-making process. We've tried to encourage them to choose their own lessons. and they do their own directed lesson and their big work of the day, but and they follow their own interest. But when they move on, they're going to have to do the same thing that the whole classroom is doing, the same lesson. Everyone's going to be doing the same thing. So like if I were writing an essay on dinosaurs, whether I'm interested in dinosaurs or not, I'm going to be writing the same essay as everyone else. Whereas up until now, they, if, for example, Henry wrote a story about a sloth in the rainforest, at the same time, Cole was writing a PSA for recycling. But they both learned how to write. They were both doing a lesson on creative writing, but on a subject of their interest. And that will be a big change for them next year. When I feel a mental block, I know that that's my time to take a chocolate break. That's human tendency. And same for our children. We've always encouraged them to listen to their body. If they feel tired, if they need a little break, they can go take a drink of water. They don't need our permission to go to the bathroom. They can sit down for a little yoga session or sit in the peace corner and come back when they get their focus back. And then they continue their activity with more concentration and more creativity to beat their fatigue. But in the next year, these breaks will be all scheduled. They'll have to ask their teacher's permission to go to the bathroom. And there's going to be a assigned time for snacks. This will be another change. Homework. We've been trying to get them used to taking this responsibility when we send them their reading folders every Friday. Reading is not as important as like this folder is meant less for developing their reading skills than it is for the sense of responsibility of bringing work home, completing it, and then bringing back home, bringing back to school on Monday. So they've had some experience to this, but we'll need to work more on that. And in the resources, I have some more pointers to help with that. We just have to maintain a space for them for homework and a positive attitude, because this is going to be a new thing, but this is something they can handle if we go about it with the positive attitude. Now, knowing when to help is important. Your patience is going to be their biggest strength. Sometimes it's better to just wait and give them time to cope on their own. If you see some of these symptoms come up, and if they persist, then it's maybe a time to have a conversation with the teacher, or step in your own gentle ways at home. Like if you see that he's sad or withdrawn, or some unusual trait that is not like him, so you'll know that he's going through this process. Maybe he'll cope in a few days, but he may need some extra TLC. All these things, if the teacher says that they're quiet in the classroom or they don't speak up, that's a sign that they're not feeling that confident yet. Or if you feel like they're confused, or they're asking you questions, or seeking your approval, that may mean that they've tried in their own little way to speak up, but they felt turned down for some reason. So they're maybe going to need a little more push or a little more support. And if academically they seem like they were able to read before, but what's going on now, it's different, that somehow they're not doing as well. So that may be a sign that maybe the way they're being assessed they're not used to that. That's not how, we never gave them tests. We always would observe them, informal quizzes or games at circle. That's how we assessed. So they're not used to a formal testing or assessment, and maybe some vocabulary that that's being used in their new classroom is new to them. So it's always helpful to have a good open communication, even from the start, even before school starts with the teacher. You can explain to the teacher that your child is coming from a Montessori background. We actually have created a letter that lists some of the differences and some of the areas where our children may need some extra understanding going into a different environment. So we'll share that with you, and you can give that to the new teacher. So maybe if there are any volunteer opportunities, please take them on as much as possible, so you have that relationship with the school and the teacher. Create more opportunities for the children to have play dates or team sports in the town, so they have more opportunity to connect with their new classmates. And for academics, ask the teacher for what reading levels are expected for the children. If she has any recommendations of specific books that you could practice with them, even at the beginning of the year. The books that we're sending home, they would give you, they're probably giving you a good idea of where the children are in their reading ability, and we'll keep in touch about that. So and when you work with them, you see where they stand right now, so you keep track of those abilities, because when they go to this new take these new assessments, which may be different from the experiences that they've had with us, they may not be able to perform up to their own level. They may be capable, but it may be just a difference of the way the questions are set up or the vocabulary is, and so they're not able to perform. But that doesn't mean that they suddenly forgot how to read. So just keep that in mind and keep your trust in the children, give them some time. You can, if you want, supplement at home, and we have this in the resources at the end. And we'll also send some workbooks and some writing practice books from school over the summer that you can practice with them. And it's always helpful if you can find a topic of their interest outside the curriculum of the school to practice more skills in those areas. If the teacher, in case the teacher raises any concerns about how your child's doing in the classroom, it's beneficial to ask what time of the day, what really triggers these things. So if that will give you an idea of what's going on, how to diagnose the situation. And what has helped my children is I asked the teacher if it would be okay, and I started sending a book from home that they were reading at home. I let them bring it to school, and if there's any idle time, or in my children's case, it was time when the lesson was already done and they had finished their assignment and it was idle time. That's where most problems happened. So they brought a book and they would read their book, and the teacher would give them some extra pages to do, and that took care of the problem. So for homework, remember TSR. You need to designate a time for every day, for as far as possible. Stick to that time and create a spot. That's something that will get them excited about homework. Include them in preparing their own office for homework. And then homework is their own responsibility. Give them the autonomy to choose what they start their homework with, which subject they'll do first. Give them some choice and some power in this. but it's not beneficial to sit with them, because then it becomes your job. Your homework will become, their homework will become your job. So let them take care of it, take care of the responsibility. You can stay close by and stay available if they need your help, but let them ask you for help. So they're going to lose some of their Montessori experiences that they have grown to be so interested in and dependent on at school. Please try to create some of those opportunities for them at home. They can bake with you. They can find a recipe on a website. They can choose a book to buy and order it online with your help. Or taking care of house plants, helping you with laundry, all these things that they did in school. They can keep doing those at home with your help. So this will be an unfamiliar situation for them, such a new environment, so many changes. So in these kind of situations, our children will always follow our lead. So if you show them a positive attitude and a trust in the teachers, in the new teacher also, and in the school, they'll just follow your lead, and that's how they'll feel. It helps to model gratitude at the end of the day, at dinner time, or when you pick up from school. Ask them what was the best thing that they did at school. So just to give an open-ended but lead in a positive direction every conversation about school. These are some of the resources, and I'm going to email these separately to you, and also the RX from before, the other pages. We'll send home at the end of the year these a couple of workbooks and practice books also. So these, I just want to stress on the benefit of trusting your decision of giving these children a Montessori education. They have, from being with us for all this time, they have a deeper understanding of foundational concepts, because that's what they get from these hands-on creative lessons and self-directed study. Because they were with us for 3 years and they created such a deep relationship, they've had a positive experience of school to begin with. The Montessori way of learning it's especially for this age group, it's not so much about the concepts as it is about learning the skills of learning, how to teach yourself, how the process of learning. So that's what they've got from being with us for 3 years. They know how to learn and how to absorb information and how to creatively create their own master plan. When I spoke with these public school teachers, this was the one thing that they consistently kept saying, that they always appreciated and they always noticed how creative children from Montessori environments were. Like, for example, someone said they were making trees and they ran out of green paint for some reason. So the child just picked up orange paint and started coloring the leaves, because he said they could be fall leaves and they could be orange and brown. So problem solving like that and critical thinking. So I studied some research on brain development that supports the Montessori method. And it says that the greatest development of the brain is between 0 to 6 years old. And that's where we gave them the best opportunity, put our best foot forward for them. Montessori experiences of taking charge and being a leader the freedom of choice, all of those enhance executive function of the brain. And so all these, I'll share these with you, and you can, if you're interested, you can look into these benefits. And here are some book suggestions. I'll send these to you too. So we want to say that LHMS is always going to be their family, and we're always going to be their teachers. So you can always feel connected to us and reach out to us. We have a LHMS alumni Facebook group that you're welcome to join, and we can discuss things over there, share pictures, share any questions with us. We will share with you before the end of school a letter that you can share to the new teacher to introduce our children and their Montessori background. So she has some idea. That's one of the things that the public school teachers had mentioned to me, that if you like, even when their kindergarten children get promoted to first grade, they have a folder. So something like that we have created that you can send just to introduce what differences and what support they may need. And we'll give you the practice books before school ends, and we'll send you a survey once school starts. So we request you to please share how your experience is going. And we are always available for anything that you'd like to discuss. Anybody have any questions?
That was really wonderful, Mrs. Mather. Thank you very much. I almost want to go out and have more kids.
We have been working with them of the whole past year. In the afternoons, we have a half-hour third year student only, kindergarten only class that Mrs. Raymond and I bring them to a different room, and we teach them with workbooks and with a little chalkboard, just to get them accustomed to what's about to come, and some of the same vocabulary that's used in the other schools. We just want them to have an idea of what's going to come. The floor is open.
If you don't have a question, you can definitely email us.
Yes.
And we'll get back to you on that. I know that was a lot of information, but as Mrs. Mather has been working over the past 2 years on this wonderful that every parent has. So it answers a lot of questions for sure.
I will send a follow-up email with all the resources, so you can have them.